Their heroes have always been crooked, and they still are, it seems. False investigations and unsubstantiated allegations are the death of their democratic socialist dreams.
All right, let's try to look at this situation practically, if that's even possible. Let's say you go into the doctor and the doctor tells you you have a terminal disease and you have two choices. You can live for quite a while in relative comfort, or you can die quickly in an extremely painful death. What option would you choose? I believe most of us, or at least anybody with any common sense, would try to prolong their life as possible and stay comfortable along the way. Politically, believe it or not, those are the choices that are before us today. We can throw out the whole system and adopt another system that has been proven a failure throughout history, or keep rolling along with the one we have that got us here in the first place. Take Venezuela, for example. Once a capitalistic country, now a communistic country, and it has been a downhill slide ever since they adopted the communist system. And if you're willing to look back in history at how communism has affected the countries that it has been infected with, the same result is usually the case. A relatively quick death that's very painful for the people, that ruins the entire system and makes everyone suffer terribly. Then we have capitalism, which offers everyone the majority of freedom to determine their own fates. In other words, the amount of work you want to put into your project or life determines how far you will go, without the state dictating the parameters of which you live your life. Are laws necessary so that people won't go too far? Of course they are, because we're an imperfect people living in an imperfect world. Greed, lust, and the thirst for power at other people's expense will always exist, something we should all acknowledge, and craft the laws of our nations to at least curb the possibilities of that happening. So back to our health analogy. What is it you want? Do you want people who are working towards the betterment of everyone involved by passing fair trade agreements, by securing the borders, by doing a lot of things that have been done since 2016? Or would you prefer a political party that only works for their best interests, changing the rules to suit them along the way for the outcome that they desire? In most cases, only designed to enrich themselves along the way. I understand what people have been told. I get what people think. But it's entirely possible that things have been skewed in such a manner that that's the way it's supposed to look, to always introduce the element of doubt. But for me, it's fairly obvious that someone lost control in 2016, and everything that has happened since has been to regain that control. And in doing so, they have exposed themselves and their agendas along the way for everyone to see who's willing to watch and observe what they've been doing. I, for one, am not prepared to abandon the vehicle that has allowed me to make my own choices in my life and to be able to make my own decisions along the way. because that, even in a small degree, is a lot better than to not be able to do that in any degree at all. So let me finish it up with a quote from the Commander-in-Chief, Barack Hussein Obama. People are not smart enough to make their own decisions politically and require an all-powerful, mighty sovereign to make it for them. That's what they believe, and that's what's been exposed ever since the election in 2016. And for people to go along with it is almost ensuring a quick death for the freedoms, limited as they may be, to die off that much quicker. So I'd ask you again, let's say you go into the doctor's office and he says you have a terminal disease and you can die a slow death comfortably or die a quick and horrible death full of pain and suffering. Which would you choose? That's the difference between capitalism and communism. And mark my words, ladies and gentlemen, there ain't no fence straddling on this one. Because when we make excuses to look the other way, we all but ensure a quick, painful death of our country and our way of life. That's why their heroes have always been crooked, and they still are, it seems.